Well met. The blade of frontiers at your...
The man's smile bends downward, and his thoughts become yours. You are the blade of frontiers racing through the wastes of Avernus. Just ahead, a diabolical figure, red skin, single curled horn, blazes with flame, bloodied great axe held.
Hell's great fires. You were on the ship. Doomed to shed our skin and become a lithid, or so the stories go. But we haven't sprouted any tentacles. Not yet, anyway. Could just be good luck. I'm not so...
Your minds collide once more. Wyll chases the fiend ignited with rancor. She is an infernal war devil. A threat to the living. Evil incarnate.
Shit! You saw her. Advocatus Diaboli. A fiend makes for poor company, unless it's been stuffed and mounted on your wall. Her name is Karlach, an archdevil soldier I swore on my good eye to kill.
I tracked her through the hells to the Mind Flayer ship, but the damned Illithids infected me before I could end her.
She's out there now, preying on the innocent. I don't kill her, she'll leave behind nothing but a trail of corpses. An excellent suggestion, but your party's full up. Still, when the time comes, call for the blade. I won't be long to answer.
Swing and swing and... Oh!
Need something? Oh, darling, I'm hurt. I thought we had something special. Well, you know where to find me.
The Blade of Frontiers at your calling. I like your thinking. Besides, I watched you fight at the gate. I could use an ally like you. Ready when you are.
The famous Blade of Frontiers in the flesh. Clever, this hero act you've got going.
Hero, Blade. Name strangers gave me. My friends call me Wyll.
Excellent. If we ever become friends, I'll know what to call you.
The Blade of Frontiers at your calling. Karlach's fires raged in Baldur's Gate before she escaped to Avernus, as my source told it. And she was planning to return. One of the archdevils Zariel's own. Chaos incarnate, a devil with pure fire for a heart. I made my way to Avernus to stop her.
She fled from my reach. Even climbed aboard the Mind Flayer ship as it screeched through the hells. I followed in close pursuit.
I can't bear to imagine the lives Karlach might be taking. The damage she might be doing. A powerful friend with a keen interest in... privacy. I'm sworn to say no more. All right. What else is on your mind? My father once said, one does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call. So it was for me. I was hunting near the Cloakwood when I heard it. A child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. Proud? No. Angry. Angry at the monsters preying on innocents. Angry at the so-called good gods for tolerating the cruelty of the evil. Angry at myself that it took so long for me to see the coast suffering. The frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded. And it's nice to meet someone of your talents. Having a worm wriggling in my skull didn't instill much confidence in the days ahead. With you as my ally, the future looks a little less daunting. A most vicious one, in fact. It's made from pure bloodstone, carved from the Galena Mountains just north of the Moonsea. A reminder that sometimes blood must be shed and sacrifices must be made. But that story is reserved for lifetime friends and calmer days.
Now a house of respite for those of us burned by a devil. We are paladins of Tyr, Lord of Justice. He sent us after an infernal being, straight out of the Nine Hells, hiding in the form of a one-horned tiefling.
One horn? Then you mean Karlach, Archdevil's bootlicker.
You know her, which means you know what the Fiend is capable of. She slaughtered countless refugees fleeing the Absolute. Yesterday, she butchered an entire family without mercy. We were lucky to survive our encounter with her. She ran toward the river when she saw we were merely wounded, not dead. Down the hill from here. She must pay for her crimes. If you capture her, you will have served Tyr where we could not. This is the sword of justice, blessed by Tyr. I've wielded it since I swore my oath. It's all I have, but it's yours if you stop her. Bring me her head, and Tyr will consider her crimes repaid. May the just God guide you.
One horn. The stink of Avernus. Advocatus Diaboli.
Well, I'll be God's damned. The Blade of Frontiers. Thought I'd shaken you for good. That'll teach me to underestimate you. Bloody right. An honor to be chased by the Blade of Frontiers, but I...
A great heat roars through you. Her heat, fiery as the hells. Then you're lost in visions of demonic armies as you tear through a landscape of fire and blood, the Blood War. You saw it from above as the Nautiloid passed through Avernus. This woman was on the front line.
What was that?
Evidence. Proof that you're a devil. A gladiator in the Archdevil Zariel's army.
I can explain, but it's a whole situation. If you just hear me out...
Another vision. Karlach's blade raised, slicing through devils, Zariel's servants, as her eyes dart around, seeking escape. Her rage and desperation seep into you. She is a victim of the Blood War, not an agent of it.
She's trying to trick us. Don't believe her lies.
You saw the truth. I never wanted to serve Zariel. I was enlisted in her army against my will. Forced to fight, and fight I did. When I saw an opportunity to get away, I took it. Finally home. Or near it, anyway.
You served her. That's enough to damn you. It's done, Karlach. By my living soul, you will forever burn.
You know, I could have used a friend. Pity that won't be you.
The devil has fallen. Hells, I should be celebrating, making toasts, roaring in victory. But I can't get the tadpole's visions out of my mind. Tell me we were right to strike Karlach down. I like your conviction. I've slayed myriad devils, each one a threat to Faerun. I've torn the horns from their heads without a second thought. Why should this time be any different? My prey has fallen. Hail the blade. Yes, hail to us. An alliance as true as the sun's march across the sky. He brings to mind a story. The Devil with the Silver Tongue. An old fairy tale my father read to me. The kind with a hero, a villain, and a moral. A farmer made a deal with the devil, so the story goes. In exchange for the farmer's dearest fruit, the devil granted him a bottomless coin purse. The farmer's dearest fruit, naturally, was no apple nor peach, but his beloved daughter. We can learn a lot from fairy tales, don't you think? Refuse him, no matter how tempting the offer, no matter how delicious the feast he lays out for you. The cost will be too great. That's because you still have hope. But when he becomes your last hope, remember this. He'll require of you only what you're least ready to part with, and then require more still. You might think you'd give up anything for a cure, but the devil won't take just anything. He'll take everything. Hellsfire. She's coming.
Wyll, buddy. I thought it was time I dropped by the doghouse.
Mizora.
The one and only. You haven't introduced me to your friends. Where are your manners? Now? Oh, but I'm just getting comfy. Call me Mizora. I'm Wyll's patron, the fount of his power. Your warlock friend is my puppy. And he's been a very good boy. I say fetch, and he'll fetch. I say kill a fugitive tiefling, and... well, I don't need to tell you.
You said devils only. She was a tiefling, not a monster.
Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless. Cheer up, Buttercup. Karlach had no heart. You did the world a favor. More to the point, you obeyed. He's the Blade of Frontiers. Devil's plaything, just doesn't have the same ring. Speaking of... always a pleasure. Shame that tadpole's gone and pissed on your party. But I'll be damned if it goes pissing on mine. I've got some errands to do. But don't you fret much, pup. I'll be back in 3 shakes of your tail. Keep an eye on him, will you? I'll be keeping mine on you. Oh, and Wyll, don't forget, our pact still stands. Ta-ta.
Damn it all. What have I done? I'd be hunting devils and demons, Mizora said. Traitors and hypocrites, heartless evils of all sorts, but not this. Not Zariel's victims, not innocent tieflings. Karlach showed us the truth, and I refuse to see it. My oath forbids me from uttering her very name. Not
Unless she's revealed herself to you. Though to hear her tell it, it was my choice to keep her a secret. It's Mizora who grants me the power to conjure armor and cast eldritch blasts. Before I was infected, I could even call hell beasts and summon festering clouds, but I promise you, every thrust of my blade and every flame I sparked was for the good of the coast. Or so I thought. Until Karlak. The one little question that put me out of house and home. I can't utter the terms or circumstances of the pact. I can tell you most all else, but the pact, I'm forbidden, unless Mizora permits it. But I'll say this. The moment I pacted myself to Mizora, I have not regretted for a heartbeat. It was my proudest deed. It was worth the sacrifice. All I can give you on that is my solemn word. Well met. A possibility that's kept me awake countless nights. But I don't have a clue where to start, other than play her games and play by the rules. That's the only language devils listen to. We can have all for it, but it won't so much as chip one of her nailed claws. She'll escape to the Hells, and if we succeeded, my life would be taken in exchange. My contract is very clear. I can bring Mizora no harm. She'll have to let me out of my pact willingly. The only way out is if I can out-bargain her. We're standing here with nothing but the clothes on our backs and the worms in our heads. We can. I'm sure of it. How glad I am that you see me as more than my patron's pet. Shit. You can put distance between you and yesterday, but you'll never leave it fully behind. Father's words. Hard to argue with them. Floric spoke true. I'm a Grand Duke's son.
Not just any Grand Duke. The most influential in the city, if my memory serves me right. And for once, I think it does.
You heard right. My father and I were close once upon a time, until he disowned me and cast me out of Baldur's Gate. I can't tell you more. The pact forbids it. My lips are quite literally sealed. He made me an exile. That said, I'm not about to let him suffer at the hands of his captors. I've been asking myself the same question. What makes a Duke of Baldur's Gate so interesting to the Drow? Even the houses of Menzoberranzan would have little use for my father. No, this is no Drow plot. These absolute nutters, these true souls are behind his abduction. His absence alone will sow chaos in the city. If they were to infect him, he could lead Baldur's Gate to ruin. All the more reason to find him. The Absolute has seized not just my father, but the future of the Sword Coast. I know, and you're right. When I look into a mirror, I see two faces. I see the Blade of Frontiers, a man hunting the fiends who prey on the weak and claw at the coast. And I see Wyll Ravengard, a memory of a memory, a man who belongs to the past. I wanted you to know the Blade, not the shadow he left behind. I'm all for it. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, they were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith, born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist, Brave as Baldur and stubborn as a deep Rothay. Daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and a talent for courtly dance. It's been a badger's age since I've twinkled my toes. A drunk ogre could put on a better show. Tempting. Give it some time. Develop a bond, and maybe I'll show you a move or two.
Ah, hells. I was hoping you wouldn't notice I was gone. No. I'm deeply proud of you. A touch less so of myself. In truth, I don't feel in a festive mood, and I didn't want to cast a grey cloud over the night. We've saved the grove, and everyone hails us as heroes. For you, it's as clear as cool water. You have that heroism within you. But Karlach is dead, and gods know how many other of my victims were people like her. I shouldn't be celebrated tonight. That's why I left. I'll be fine. Seeing you has cheered me more than you can know. But off with you. This is your day. Have a dance. Enjoy the music. You must have stumbled out here by complete accident. Too much honey wine can do that. You should watch yourself. Then we share a similar affliction. For I've grown fond of you too. Though, I can't say I've earned the honor. I mean, the Blade hasn't exactly lived up to his own reputation. You drive a hard bargain, but just the one. Well, then. You've got a party to get back to. After all, tonight is about you. There will be another time for us. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you standing there. Lost in the steps, truth be told. I need them to be just right. I wouldn't want to fail my new partner. As luck would have it, she just arrived. May I have this dance? Bravo! Bravo! No need to be modest. You were a delight to behold. Now, perhaps we might try a more intimate style. so much shadow around us. To think I almost missed the light. Well, it's getting late. We can't face the morrow if we don't bid farewell to the now. I'm tempted, trust me. I thought my heart might burst with every step, but I still keep faith in the old tales of love. The once upon a times and the happily ever afters. I'd like to do this the proper way. The way of the old romances sung by the bards. Till next time, good night, and dream sweetly.
Mizora, you're Zariel's asset.
My dumb little stinker. Took you long enough. Now, by Grazit's cock, get me out of this thing!
Not yet, Mizora. It's a seller's market now. Time we struck up a new deal.
Is it? Please, enlighten me.
You end it. No more pact, no more debt. Then I set you free, and you flit back to Zariel and leave me for good.
Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash? Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand? Fine, I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once I'm freed, not before. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favor only upon Soulbearer's fulfillment of related obligation. Now, open the pod.
Fine. Let her out.
The controls are open to your tadpole's command, to your authority.
You did all right, Wyll. I'd give your belly a good rub, but never could stand the smell.
You're free, Mizora. I held up my end. Now you hold up yours. Sever the pact.
Clause Z, Section 13. If the Soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the Soulbearer from all obligation within 6 months.
6 months? Gods damn you!
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. The new contract is enough. That and my sparkling disposition. Now, you've got business in the towers to take care of. Don't you fret. I'll find you soon enough. You're going to need me. Count on it. Oh, and go ahead. Tell your chums how we met. It's a real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
Zariel's asset was none other than Mizora herself. Of course. Tricks on top of tricks on top of tricks. But I've only got 6 months before I'm made a free man. Thanks be to the Triad. No, scratch that. Thanks be to you. First, we killed Ketheric Thorn. Then, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Anything more we should discuss? My favorite subject. Gods be damned. With that parasite in his brain, Father could wreak untold havoc in the Absolute's name. Should Baldur's Gate fall to the Absolute, every one of the coast cities will be ripe for the plucking. We're not just fighting for our cure. We're fighting for my father. We're fighting for the Gate. We're fighting for all of Faerun. Worm's Rock Fortress. All travelers to Baldur's Gate flow through it. It serves as headquarters for the Flaming Fist and their commander, my father. The Absolute's army's on the march. Gods forbid a tadpoled Grand Duke throw open the gates for them. Orin, I'd never heard tell of, but Gortash I know. Or know of, more precisely. A self-styled strategic advisor to Baldur's Gate's peers. A bit player with dreams of a leading role, the way Father told it. He had no use for Gortash, and even less for his advice. I don't remember much beyond that. But where these Chosen are concerned, I have a suspicion we're about to know more than we'd like. Yes, but first, a question. If your home were under siege, what would you sacrifice to save it? As would I. And more. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the cult of the dragon made its move. A religion devoted to conjuring the most evil of goddesses, the dragon Tiamat. A 10-day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were, gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Wyll wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved, and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. As the maelstrom howls, Mizora's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldur's Gate. Grant me your soul, and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while 2 devils stood witness, and I said yes. 1 soul for 1 city. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel. Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Mizora's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. The moment I agreed, I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. Mizora replaced it with a sending stone. She uses it to track my location and speak from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world, or the depths of the lower dark, and still never shake her. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Mizora had swept it clean. I showed him my stone eye, but he only turned away. After, he said only one word: go. So I did. I understand. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst, and Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. More than you know. The better question is, did he ever miss me? If he did, he missed the Wyll Ravengard he once knew, not the hell-touched warlock he returned to. Indeed. My heart is joy to hear it, but why? I'm glad you see my very best self. In the moments I'm any less than that, I hope I'll still find you near.
Shall I look into your heart, you and your beloved both, and see if your love will stand the test of time?
I'm more than game. Let's do it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Wyll, the courageous heart tormented by the inferno. Listen. Think. What on his darkest day would make him smile?
Indeed. You are a source of light among shadows. Still are, for that matter.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. We cannot live this life without others. Others to guide us, to aspire to. Who does the blade most admire?
Yes, a hero in all senses. A courageous explorer and a just spirit. Would that we all aspired to his greatness.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. Life is a difficult and tumultuous thing. With every smile, a tear often follows. What is Wyll's greatest regret?
Her face still haunts me. If I could make the sun rise in the west, reverse the Chiontar's waters, I'd spare her my folly. You know me. You understand me. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
Incredible. To hear my father's voice speak those words, like a stranger wrapped in his flesh. But there's still a glimmer of him in there, calling for release. I feel it. I know it. I won't let the Absolute keep him. This is my pledge.
If it isn't little Wyll, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle.
Mizora, I've had enough. You owe your life to me. Time to end the pact.
Poor thing. You've had a tough go. And you don't know the half of it. You see, Gortash has had your father relocated. To the slaughter, the way I hear it.
Shit.
Your dad's good as dead, pup. And to think, there's no way to save him. Or is there?
You know something.
I know enough. I'll be in your camp if you want to work something out.
Of course she'd stick her infernal nose where it doesn't belong. Of course she's dreamt up some risible scheme. By all the hounds of the hells, what is she planning? I couldn't even fathom a guess. Though, I doubt we'll need to wait long for answers. Let's make camp when we're able. Mizora will be waiting. Until then, may my father keep safe, whatever coop he's been flown to.
Sorore surge, testis esto pacti me. Come, sisters, be my testament. Notum sit in beator.
Notum sit in beator.
Holy hells.
Fina, Cirrus, arbiters for the hells, exemplars of justice.
Enough, Mizora. Where is my father? How do I save him?
How else? We bargain. Sisters.
Infernos contractus te vocamus. Infernos contractus te vocamus. Infernos contractus te vocamus.
Your contract, Wyll. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable. No contract is ended without sacrifice. A cost must be paid. Wyll Ravengard, a choice is before you. Option 1. I show you the way to your father. I guarantee him no harm except that from you and your allies. And you pledge your soul to me and the Archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Option 2. I break your pact, and you are freed from your duty. Your father dies by his enemy's hand, and Baldur's Gate loses its greatest champion. Name your sacrifice.
Mizora! You asshole!
Choose.
You damned wretch. Do it then. Claim my soul for Zariel. Keep my father safe.
Fiat ita.
Fiat ita. Anima ad beator.
Seems you've got a new mission, pup. Go save your father. He's locked in a very nasty place. Gortash's secret command center and prison. Lucky for you, I know the way in. I'll mark your map. After all, a deal's a deal. You know what? I think I'll stick around. Not for the greater good, you understand. Just for the entertainment.
Twice Mizora's held my feet to the fire, and twice was I burnt. But my father will live. We will return the Grand Duke to his people. And forever a devil's leash will choke me. Sometimes, fate closes a door for good. The bolt is fastened, the key is destroyed, and the wish is forever locked away. The Hells will take my soul. I'll make my peace with it. I have once already, after all. Besides, there's no time to wallow in self-pity. More than anything, I'm elated that there's hope yet for my father. We should hurry to this mystery prison and retrieve my father before Mizora tries pulling more tricks. This prison's in the lower city. Let's move. We will knock him out if we need to. Or restrain.
Your skull vibrates in concord with the astral prism.
Bring me to your Duke. I will shield him, as I shield you.
Why would you do that?
Better to bring him into the fold than to leave you distracted by regret.
Well then, I'm not about to say no. What else is on your mind? Let's talk. My favorite subject.
First you cleave my heart in twain, now you shatter it to pieces. My own son. Still the she-devil's toy. Is this my fate? To be freed from Gortash's hell, only to be trapped in yours.
It isn't what you think. It never was.
You turned your back on me, on your city, to chase the she-devil and her power. She stinks up the place even now. It is exactly what I think.
Ravenguard's tadpole clenches as your memories and wills flow into him.
My tears rose. I'm in your mind.
The Grand Duke sees Mizora and her infernal sisters. He sees the agony in Wyll's face as an impossible choice is set before him.
No. My son.
The past becomes present, and Wyll's thoughts are laid bare. Ravengard sees Wyll partnering with Mizora to defeat Tiamat's cultists before they could lay siege to Baldur's Gate, and he sees everything beyond. The Nautiloid journey, the perilous path to Moonrise, the astral prism, and the Emperor within.
Well,
Everything I did for Baldur's Gate. I did for you.
my son. You sold your soul to save Baldur's Gate, and I cast you out for it. By the gods. Can you ever forgive me?
There's nothing to forgive. You wanted to protect the city. I only ever wanted the same.
You are a better man than most, and a better son than I deserve. I'll yet make amends, but my duty is first and foremost to the city and its people. There's something I must ask of you. Before I was captured, I was on a mission. Returning from Elturel, I discovered the plans of the Absolutists. I immediately realized the city couldn't defend itself against such an army. I didn't despair, because the city has a secret guardian, a worm that sleeps beneath. He can be called upon in times of great need. This is such a time. You've been trained in the ways of the great champions and proven to be one of them. The worm will answer your call. You must seek him out.
Courage, insight, strategy, justice. I remember them well. You made me recite them every morning.
So you do. And I thought you'd abandoned them. More fool me. The worm goes by many names. Answer, the waiting storm, the heart of the gate. He promised Baldur he'd protect the city if ever its existence was threatened. But just the once. Since then, the city has faced countless threats, but we always overcame. There was never a need to call on the worm. Until now, the Absolute is the greatest threat Baldur's Gate ever faced. The worm must be awakened, and the task falls to you. Take this. The legend of Ansur. An ancient epic. Ill-remembered. Dismissed as a mere tale. Let it set the path before you. Thank you. And may the city know the truth of my only son. Pride of Ravengard. Pride of Baldur's Gate. The Absolute's voice is gone, but I still hear its echoes. Reflections of reflections. She's gone. Hells. My own family was never so true. She deserved a better fate than death, dearest Floric. May your journey to the Fugue Plain be a peaceful one. I was returning from Elturel. My traveling party stopped at an inn, Joaquin's Rest, to lay our heads. It wasn't the heat that woke me. It was the scent. Cultists had set fire to the place. I don't remember being taken. Just the smoke burning my throat before I fell. I awoke in Moonrise Towers, inside one of those damnable pods. The rest, Well, the rest goes without saying. A complicated one. I went to greet Elturel's High Overseer, only for the Archdevil Zariel to drag the city into the hells. I've been touched by Avernus, been a plaything for demons. A tale for other places, other days.
We'll finish what my father couldn't. We'll awaken Ansur, the heart of the gate. O Baldurin, founder due veneration. His guardian dragon Ansur, tremendous in worth. A savior below, our eternal elation. It's not just a tale, it's a history. Consider this. To Wormway 'neath prison's deepest level. That must mean Worm's Rock Prison. That's where we'll find the entrance to this Wormway. Then this. With the shock of a true hero's spark flickers, the torches are light, and Worm's eyes shall awake a glitter. To open the way, we'll need to spark torches. This dragon Ansur was Baldurin's ally. We'd be fools to let him sleep while the Dead Three's chosen raised the city. It's complicated. There's the joy of reconciliation, the relief of forgiveness, and the anxiety of new expectation. It's a flurry of emotion. I'm not sure how to make sense of it. Joy. To my father, I was only ever a boy. Incredible that he can see the man I became. Once all this is ended, once we've crushed the brain and freed the people, I could once more call Baldur's Gate home. Whether I return there, well, only time will tell. It's funny. As the Blade, I've faced untold brutes and beasts. Together, we've seen illithid horrors most souls could merely fathom. I live at the mercy of fiends, a devil's plaything awaiting a future in the hells. But I've only now come to see who my true enemy's been. So you'd think, but the right answer is much simpler than that. Time. Time is so God's-damned greedy. It can never give, only take. My eternal soul is at its mercy. It builds mountains and deserts only to tear them asunder. It fells armies. It conquers kings, queens, even gods. We blink and we're gone. And our hopes, our memories, our heart bonds are gone with us. Lucky for us, I found a way to stop time. If just for a moment. Come, let me show you. The Wilden Oak. Legend has it stood since the Age of Dawn. I used to come here and climb it when my father's eye was turned elsewhere. Daydream of the stories it might tell if I listened close enough. The Dragon Lords sparking the skies above it, the Moon Elves first plucking the strings of the weave. Standing here, I feel like I can see into forever. I've been thinking a lot about forever. More so, I've been thinking about everything that comes before, and who I want at my side as it passes. My mother always said the Wilden Oak's acorns held just a touch of wishing magic. If that be so, then may my greatest wish come true tonight. I love you. Will you be mine today and tomorrow and reaching into eternity?
Your skin flushes and your soul sings as you palm the acorn, wishing magic, affection, love. Whatever the cause, it's as real as the ground beneath you.
Get down here already! It's time we started our happily ever after.
The Absolute's voice is gone, but I still hear its echoes. A terrible fate for Ansur, my son. Yet my hopes for the city's future have never been higher.
I failed, Father. The worm is fallen.
A terrible fate for Ansur, my son. Yet my hopes for the city's future have never been higher.
I don't understand.
You and your allies slayed the undead terror that was once the great Ansur. You are stronger than even the great worm. You will be the one to part the storms and lead the people through. You, not Ansur, are the savior we need. First, you will fell the Absolute. Then we will rebuild Baldur's Gate. We will take back our city together. I will name you Baldur's Gate's newest Grand Duke of the Council. You will be hailed Heart of the Gate.
Grand Duke? My soul lies with the city. But
what, Wyll?
I have slain monsters, faced illithids, guarded the helpless. To be a duke, is this the destiny I've awaited? Is the nobility my calling?
Uncertainty fills the air. Wyll has reached a fork in his path. In which direction will he travel?
Wyll?
Courage, insight, strategy, justice. These were the lessons my father taught me. Baldur's Gate is my home, and I am its servant. I will be relentless in my pursuit of the greatest good.
I will sooner die by Mizora's hand than let her endanger the city. I'll figure out a way.
The Blade of Frontiers is no more. I will be Wyll Ravengard, son of Baldur, proud Duke of Baldur's Gate.
My son. Together there is no army we cannot conquer, and no wrong we cannot right. Hail, Duke Wyll Ravengard!
Duke Wyll Ravengard.
Wyll's courage and enthusiasm warms the air. With him at your side, the road ahead doesn't look so insurmountable.
My shining star. Since I've known you, we've shed more blood than could ever fill the Cheon Thar. The wounds we sustained were the testament to our might. But last night, I swear to you, your touch healed every one of my bruises and wiped away every scar. I am a new man, and I've got you to thank for it. If only last night could have lasted forever. But if I'm to be a Grand Duke, I've got to greet the people and gain their trust. First, we mourn. We bow our heads for the fallen and honor them by pledging peace. Next, we heal the city. We restore our broken buildings stone by stone. We restore faith in each other, one good turn at a time. After that, well, it's up to us to decide. Any ideas? And a magnificent ball, I presume, for dancing the night away. You dressed to the nines, me in the finest uniform I can convince father to lend me. How could I ever refuse you? What a joy! This life we're about to make. This story we're about to write. Every chapter more thrilling than the last. I hope we never have to turn to the final page.
My. I can tell you are a special one from a single glance. You have but to ask, and we can grant you a moment of pleasure. Don't be shy.
What do you think, silly? Love, of course. Hot and vulgar with me, or sweet and sincere with my sister. Trust me, you don't want to miss my signature Mesobaranzan love trick.
And is that your partner with you? What a gorgeous couple. Perhaps we could come to an agreement. Well, there are two of us, aren't there? Use your imagination.
No. I want romance, not debauchery. I value affection over fun. A lasting memory over a passing fancy. This is our story, not theirs.
Couldn't get us off your mind, could you?
I thought we were weaving our own tale, you and me. Don't turn your back on it.
If your beloved one wants to join, we could work out something to our mutual satisfaction.
Two of us? Two of you? 4 gorgeous people.
No. I want romance, not debauchery.
Why are some people so strange about Sharess's caress? It's just sex.
I've had my eye on you. Hot as brimstone, jagged as lightning, and seething like the river Styx. But there's something missing, isn't there? You're hungry for pleasures beyond this plane. Something more satisfying than mortal flesh, blood, and bone. The ecstasy of agony, the pain of the damned, distilled into pure bliss. Beyond every climax you've known, the little death writ large. Smile, and I'll come to you when you put your head down to rest. I will sate your most forbidden lusts. Or don't, and know the eternal ache of the unknown and the unanswered. Tonight, then. Be ready. The pleasure of torment. The torment of pleasure. You're forever marked. Can't you feel it? Where my lips scorched your skin. How your soul burns with flame.
Your pores flood with heat and frigid water. Your parched tongue searches for the right response.
One taste, one indulgence, but the delicious agony remains. A pity for you, the one taste is all I'll give.
Shit. Why?
Why not? Last I checked, you were the only one of us tied to a leash. I think I'll nip out for a bit, let you two lovebirds chirp. Who would I be to meddle in personal affairs?
I was such a goddamned fool. I believed in you. I believed in us. And out of every soul walking the plains, you chose her. More incredible than the love we might have shared, of the kingdom we might have built. We danced, we made a connection, and you severed it for a single bite of the hells. You shared your body with the fiend who holds my soul. I can forgive it. I can't forget it. You have my might. I owe you that much. But don't owe you more.
You catch a faint odor, one without any discernible source. Wet ash, dried mud, and a hint of sulfur. Mizora channeled the hell's essence into you. You'll never be rid of their scent.
Our happily ever after wasn't to be. But I still treasure our alliance. Now come, we've plenty of work still ahead of us.